Hello, and oh my goodness, what a time for that game. What a time to play your best game of the season, your best game in probably since the Colorado series. Like, all the people that think that I am incapable of saying good shit about this team, turn this off now because I do not have much negative to say at all. Do not give a damn what happened in the third period. No, they weren't good, but they were also up by 4, and then it ended up being 5. Don't care. All they needed to do was find a way to put a game like this together, and things can turn around in a hurry. And that is exactly what happened. And I don't want to hear about the game not having meaning for Calgary or whatever, the things weren't bouncing right for them or what. I do not care at all. That team needed 1 point to clinch their playoff berth. That team does not like the Golden Knights at all. The fact is that team was ready to play that game, and the Golden Knights stomped them. An absolute obliteration of a great hockey team. Like, I talk about, what is it when you beat Seattle? What does it look like when you beat Chicago barely, or Vancouver and barely, or whatever? No, none of that tonight. This was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. From start to finish. I'm aware they gave up the goal. I'm not even all that bothered by the goal that they gave up, because the goal that they gave up, they actually reacted properly on the penalty kill and were this close away, and then a funky hop puts it in a bad spot and they make a good play. That happens in hockey. You overcome that and you go out and you stomp a team. And what really, really amazed me in this game was just the difference between what we have seen for 74 games up until now in how they defend in their own zone, how they've been able to play through the neutral zone, some of the creativity in the offensive zone, the patience. I think that's the piece that jumped off the page to me. They were not chasing that game despite going down first. They're not chasing that game. They knew, if we play the right way, we're going to win. And the part that I don't understand is, where has this been all season? Mark Stone and Max Pacioretty, who I will talk about later, were not even very good. It was the players who've been out there all year long that were fantastic in this game. Marchessault, Carlson, Wah had a good game. Dadonov finds one. Amadio had a nice game. Stevenson, a good game. Like, Eichel was fantastic for basically that entire game. Obviously, the third period, I don't really even care. Like, that's what you want to see. And then, defensively, where has this been from all of them? Shea Theodore, McNabb, Whitecloud, Pietrangelo, Hutton even, like, all of them. Who did I miss? I'm missing somebody. Oh, now I'm killing myself here. Who am I missing? Hutton, Pietrangelo, Whitecloud, Theodore, McNabb. I'm dying here. Whoever it was, somebody tell me who it is. Damn it. Now I'm struggling. Either way, all I'm trying to say is Martinez, of course, idiots. How do I forget Martinez? Thank you for all the people putting that in there. Here's the part that really gets me pumped up. The way that they played from neutral zone in and then defensive zone out. That is how this team needs to win. They are not an elite offensive team. Yes, they have some elite offensive talent. I'm well aware of that. They are not an elite offensive team, and they're not going to be an elite offensive team. What they need to do is they need to make life incredibly difficult on their opponent. It's in the defensive zone and then through the neutral zone, and more so through the neutral zone, backing into their defensive zone. When the Golden Knights are at their best, their gaps are brilliant. Really, really good. Today, the best defensive gaps I have seen all season long from the Golden Knights, and I don't even think there's another game that is close. Not even close. And yeah, I'm seeing Tony saying Daryl Suter is pissed. Okay, fine. There's not a lot you can do in that game. Great teams do not come close to the Golden Knights in that game. That's how good Vegas was in that game. I truly believe that he can be mad at his team for not being up for it or whatever. But when there's no room to enter through the defensive at the Vegas's blue line in front of their own goal, which is where they were at their absolute best today, it forces them to chip the puck in. They did not want to chip the puck in all that much. That is a thing that a lot of teams come up against Vegas and do not want to do, because when Vegas is playing well, you chip the puck in, they're on it, and it's up and out before you even have it. That's what I was talking about in the first 8 or 9 minutes of this game. Yes, I'm aware that the Golden Knights went behind. I'm not all that concerned about it. What was very, very impressive to me throughout all of it was the fact that every single time the puck came through the neutral zone or got into the Vegas defensive end, Vegas was under control, patient, and willing to make the proper play all the time, over and over and over and over again. And that is what they have to do. And that is what leads to stupid penalties that teams are taking against them, transition chances that happen for them, opportunities that usually do not come for this team come when they play that way. The neutral zone has to generate their offense. They're not going to be a team that's going to dominate in the offensive zone. And even though they were better in the offensive zone today, the plan that this team has to take is what they took today. And I heard it before the game, and I actually got somewhat excited. And why, had anyone been able to ask me prior to the game who I thought was going to win, after I heard Marchessault talk about playing a good road game, that's when I started to feel like they had a legitimate shot. That was the moment that I said, okay, they're going to play the right way and find a way to get into this game and find a way to make life difficult on this team. Now, I still know that there's always that concern that offensively this team may not be able to get to what they need to do. But if you can frustrate your opponent consistently, which they did for 40 minutes of this game, and the 40 minutes that mattered, they did it the entirety of that game, that is the type of play that you have to have from this Golden Knights team. And the thing that I'm not sure what I'm even going to make of it, and I will talk about it down the road here, I have it 7th on my bullet points over there, is what happens when you get a better Stone and a better Pacioretty. But you might not. We'll get to that in a second. First, I want to tell you that this Periscope and all Periscopes are brought to you at Conler & Associates CPAs. Multiple people reached out to me in between yesterday or 2 days ago's Periscope and today to seek out Conler, and I hope more of you do that. ConlerCPA.com is the website. Tax day is Monday, 4 days from now, and if that's too soon for you, go to ConlerCPA.com, tell them SinBin sent you, and say, I need an extension. I don't want to file my taxes by Monday. I don't have that kind of time. Can you help me get an extension? And guess what? They can do that. Or at least they can work on your side to help make that happen for you, assuming the IRS allows it. I don't know the rules. I just read the ads. So, Conler & Associates CPAs, shout out to them for sponsoring all the Periscopes this season. Hopefully, there are a bunch more coming. Next, the way that this game was played in front of Logan Thompson made life a lot easier on Logan Thompson. However, Logan Thompson did a good job in the goal. Logan Thompson did what he absolutely had to do. He was very good in this game, and I am absolutely over the moon for him because this is a game that you can really take the puck and put it in your room over. This is the game that you really, really wanted to come out and have a good performance in, and he did. From start to finish, he did what he absolutely had to do. This team is not asking for elite save after elite save when they're playing good hockey. They don't need that. They need steady Eddie in front, and they need to make sure that you get all of the stops that they can get. Logan Thompson delivered that and did it in a big-time way. Also, I thought Logan was good with his stick behind the goal, doing a good enough job of helping out on some of those dump-ins, which wasn't all that common. But when they did, he was doing a good job at that. That's something we haven't seen a ton of because we haven't seen a ton of him playing. That's good to see as well. It really helps this team out. For me, the decision is very clear. Should not even be considered between now and 1 p.m. on Saturday. It is very, very clear. I don't care if Robin Lehner was hurt. I don't care if Robin Lehner was taken out because you don't trust him. I do not care what the reasoning was behind why Robin Lehner was out of this game and Logan Thompson was in. Doesn't matter to me. It is Logan's goal on Saturday. Until he proves in any way that it's not his goal, it has to be his goal moving forward. Part of it is how the team played in front of him. I'm not always a fan of saying that they play a different way in front of a different goalie or whatever, but you don't mess with what you just had. You leave the lines the same, you leave the pairs the same, you leave the style the same, and you go into that next game with Logan Thompson again. Absolutely the correct decision moving forward. And the fact is, who cares what it says about the future? I understand that we will get into those discussions, and I know Jason wants to get into those discussions now. I do not. And the reason I do not is because there is a huge difference between the Golden Knights winning 6 of the next 7 and the Golden Knights winning 5 or 4 of the next 7 and not getting enough help to get into the postseason. That is a massive difference. And because of that, and really the main difference is because we get to see more hockey on the other side of it. I don't care whether it's 6 games of Logan and 1 of Robin, or it's 4 and 3 or whatever it happens to be. Doesn't matter to me. All you need to do is put the guy who gives you the best chance. And as of right now, they absolutely have to put Logan Thompson in the game in the next game. It should not even be discussed. Like, not at all. Does that mean that Lehner has lost the goal forever? No, it doesn't at all. And if you think there's a time where you want to give it back to Robin, and guess what? There is a back-to-back still on the schedule with travel, and it's not the easiest travel, Dallas to Chicago. There is an opportunity to get him back in there. And depending on where things are at that point, maybe you can hand the job back over to him if you believe that that's the guy that's going to get you through the postseason, if that's how you feel. But you're not going to get to the postseason if you don't get consistent goaltending starting right now. And they did not get it 2 games ago, and they did today. So you have to go back to him. That is as simple as I can put it. I don't even think it should be considered to do anything else. And that doesn't mean that I'm talking about the New Jersey game or the Washington game. Those I'm not worried about yet. We'll do that when we get to there. And I know I'm one who usually does want to look ahead and do whatever. But in this case, I'm not. This is the easy decision. You go right back to him. You do that. Next thing. Here's where I do have some concern moving forward, in that this game is played in a way that is everything you can possibly ask for. The Golden Knights have had good games in the past. They wiped the floor with Nashville not too long ago. They've had some good games before the losing streak. It has been there. There are certain things that I don't think were fixed. Number one, I don't think the power play was fixed at all. I think the goal was another classic spray and play fluke. It'll happen from time to time, but if that's your plan, the power play was an abomination yet again, has been all season long. The second thing is, I don't think they got much, if anything, out of Stone and Pacioretty. And that's the part that I'm not sure what to make of it, because part of me is saying, well, they need to work back into this. And as they work back into this, the team's going to get better and they're going to be in a better position. But there's also a part of me that has to sit here and say, I don't know. By the way, I always prepare an agenda. Oh, what is this? I'm on some weird, I don't know what's going on with the comments today, but I always have an agenda over there. That's the point of the other monitor. And I have my ad read over there so I don't forget to do it. That's what I'm doing. And I have Twitter up, but I don't read that because it's way the hell over there. And I like to look somewhere in this area instead of over there. I just thought that in this game, you're not getting that overwhelming push that the Golden Knights had across the board from all the other lines when Pacioretty and Stone are out there. And because of that, I think, and I shouldn't say that, the reason for that, I believe, is because they've been off for so long. And I completely understand that when you've been off for this long and you have a back injury or whatever Pacioretty's is, that it's not going to come back immediately. I get that. But they need these games. And this next game, understanding that those two did not really take the step we had hoped to see them take. Pacioretty's played 3 now, Stone 2. And the power play not taking the step that they needed to take. I thought the penalty kill, the first one they actually allowed the goal, I thought was good, and it just was a goofy hop. The second one I thought was actually not very good, and they didn't allow a goal, and Thompson was very good on that one to save them. That you can have. If Thompson's going to bail you out, cool. Leonard bails you out, whoever, that's part of the deal. That's a huge part of penalty killing. But moving forward, this game, as dominant as it was, as awesome as it was, everything that you can potentially have from this game, and I do not want to take anything away from this, is you have to get at least a point out of the next one. If they come home with just 3 on this trip, it's not going to be good enough. And all of a sudden, the climb is going to look way more uphill once again if you go into this just 1 point behind LA, which looks okay on paper. But when you look at the schedule and you look at what will have happened if they lose this game, which means they've lost 2 of the 3 on the road trip and have still 3 games against playoff teams still on the board, it's a lot more of an uphill climb. If you get a single point, now you're in a much better position. If you get 2, you're in a way better position, in a position that it almost becomes you now are the favorite to get in moving forward because you have complete control of what's going on. So to me, would I bench Mark Stone or bench Max Pacioretty? Absolutely not. No, wouldn't even consider that. But I do think they have to keep looking at, are we going to be able to play with this same gusto moving forward if we're not getting more out of those guys? And I don't, there's really not anything you could do. It's just a concern that I have of looking towards the Saturday game of like, what is it going to look like if they don't get the best games out of some of those guys and they don't get the absolute elite game out of a number of players that they got out of today? And also, Edmonton is a much different style of team. Like if you were to tell me who do I think Vegas has a better chance to beat matchup-wise, stylistically-wise, I would have said absolutely Edmonton. But to then see the dominant game come against Calgary, now I'm saying, well, okay, it's a much different style of game that's going to be coming up here. Are they going to be able to play that same way? Are they going to be able to gap up against McDavid and Draisaitl and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Evander Kane starting to play better hockey? And like, this is a team that comes at you in a much different way. They come at you with a lot more speed. Not that Calgary's a slow team, but they're much more of a team that does want to get that possession and create some good things in the offensive zone. And if you gap up with them properly, it can really give them trouble. That's what happened today. If you play against Edmonton and the gaps are just a tiny bit off, which maybe they, I thought they were excellent in this game, but if we find out that in the next game they were slightly off, these guys are going to shred you apart, and it's not going to look as good. Now, you do have a much easier team to score on. I think that they're going to get a lot more opportunities to score, and Vegas has all of a sudden been scoring a little bit more, which definitely excites me moving forward because a lot of it's coming in transition. And when they play good in the neutral zone, they do get those transition chances. And I don't think that Edmonton is a team that's going to come in and not give up any transition chances. So the chance is there. But as much as we want to go and say, look how great this game was, and I will do that all night long, I don't have really anything to say other than this game beats every single team in the NHL every single night. Can you play that game every night? Probably not. But this game is good enough to win the Stanley Cup. We have not seen much of that all season long. Like we're 75 in, and it's not even a debate what was the best game of the season. Like this was clearly the best game of the season. So now you have to back it up because of the situation that they've placed themselves in. You have to find a way to back it up. And that's the part that now early game, both teams coming in pretty hot, huge stakes on the line for both of them. Obviously, it's going to be a fairly tricky game, and I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as what it looked like in that second period, even though I do think if they play as well as they played tonight, even without getting all that much out of Stone and all that much out of Pacioretty, I think they will find a way to beat this Calgary team, and I think they will find a way to get more points than LA. But I cannot simply discard 74 games prior to this one. I know the inconsistencies that this team has played with. I know what it's going to take for them to continue playing this way. We have not seen them build on that. The last time they played a really good game was Nashville, and they immediately gave up 3 to a bad Chicago team in the first period the very next game. Now, of course, they came back and found a way to win that game Very fortunate. Thank goodness for those 2 points. But that's what you want to get. And then from there, moving forward, then you can come home. If you get even a single point out of this, you're going to feel like it's a hell of a road trip, doing absolutely everything they needed to do. And that is a huge part of what I think they can potentially get moving forward, getting these games against New Jersey and then Washington and then San Jose. The chances are going to be there to play good hockey and find a way to win these games. If you play like they did today, they're going to be in good shape. But there's so many pieces of this game that have not shown up. And it's players that have been with the team. Like I'm well aware that they're way healthier now than they have been at any point of the season. Like that I get. And that's not something that you can take all that lightly. But when you look at this game, the key performers in this game, and the reason they won this game as easily as they did, was because of they were getting performances from players that have been there. Eichel, excellent game. Marchessault, excellent game. Waugh, excellent game. Dadonov, excellent game. McNabb, Martinez, he wasn't there earlier, but has been for a little while now. Whitecloud, Pietrangelo, Theodore defensively. Theodore defensively today was awesome. Really, really good. And so even though it is a healthier roster and guys are slotted back into roles that seem to make more sense for them, we can't just assume consistency off of one game. I am going to feel very, very good about said one game. And I have, for the first time, actually been able to say, okay, that is what a healthier Golden Knights team looks like. That is what a healthier team, Golden Knights team looks like. I tried to say that twice and didn't. When they don't even get A-plus performances out of 2 of their best players, that is the type of a group that you can feel like, all right, bring on Edmonton in the postseason. Bring on that Calgary team again in the postseason. Bring on Colorado. Bring on Florida or whoever. Like, this team can potentially do it. But we need to see more of it. We need to see it on Saturday. And while I will publish the numbers tomorrow morning, and they will look much, much, much better than they have in the past, certainly the best they have looked since I have been publishing the playoff picture every single day, and I'll continue to do that throughout the rest of the season. This looks very good today, but it can easily turn just as quickly as it turned today. Like, they got basically everything they needed today and yesterday, aside from Dallas getting the 1 point. And I'm not even all that concerned about Dallas. They're not the one that I really had my eyes on. I have my eyes more on Nashville if it's going to go that route, but my eyes are clearly focused most on LA. But if they do not back this up, and I don't think this is a team where the success should necessarily go to their head, but we haven't seen 2 of these types of games back to back. We haven't seen these dominant performances over and over and over again since maybe November. And even then, I would say it probably goes back all the way until May or June or whenever that Colorado series was. I guess it was June of last season. So that's the part that I need to see moving forward. And while I am ecstatic about what happened tonight, the way it went down, the way they were able to score. Like, I talk so much about unreplicable goals. Like, that game gets played 100 times. Vegas win 100 times. Like, never will they lose those games. And so that really gets you feeling like, okay, this is it. This is what they need. But you also have that really large groundswell of like, we're not supposed to win this game. We're going to go do something that we're not supposed to do, something the Golden Knights have been very good at in that situation historically, specifically last season against Colorado. And then now, I think all of a sudden, you're going to be feeling a lot better about yourself against Edmonton. So maybe we just all need to shit on them for the next 2 days and say, well, you're never going to beat Edmonton anyway, and the trip's not even going to be all that worthwhile if you don't beat Edmonton, and find a way to tell them that they are the underdogs again. But they have to continue to show it. And so that's the piece that I need to see a lot more of it more than just 2 periods. And again, like I said, the third period, whatever, throw it in the garbage. It's 5-1. Don't care. Maybe if they give one up right off that first shift, like I had the skeptical eyes out in that first shift. Like, the only thing you can't do in this third period is allow a goal on the first shift, and there's a guy standing right in front of the goal. And like, that's where my mind like immediately went to, this is not what it is. And again, like, I'll go back to this. I got to fix the thing. I just hate it. What is it? It shouldn't, that's so much better. I don't know what happened. It got turned on to this bubble and I don't like it. And minimal is much better. Or maybe, no, block is terrible. Minimal is much better. I like that so much better. I hated that other one. I wanted to play the sound, and I made the new sounder, and the song was awesome. And then I got a thing, and it came in, and I got the copyright, and now I can't use that song anymore. What a joke. Very frustrated by that. But if the Knights are 100% healthy, which probably will not happen throughout the rest of the season, and I don't think they're 100% healthy now, and that's pretty clear based on what we're seeing. But we can't just take one game, and I hope that the franchise and the organization is also looking at it the same way, which is like, you cannot just take this one game and say, that's it. That's what this team is going to be moving forward, because we saw Vancouver play in Vegas and dominate the Golden Knights in a game that Vancouver's not going to play that way all that often. And they can look at it and say, that's what we are when we are at our best. Like, the Kings have done it, Minnesota, St. Louis, like a lot of these teams can do it. And like this question, no, the Golden Knights are not going to win out because it's just too hard in this sport. Like, there's too many games left to find a way to win out. And they can have excellent games. The point that I'm trying to make, though, is that with the health that they currently have, and with the ability to now back it up with, like, if they can do this again the next game, and again the next game, and again the next game, and even if those result in just 2 out of the 3 wins, you're going to start feeling like, okay, this was the piece that we needed. This was the turning point. That Calgary game is the one. And maybe it goes back to the Vancouver comeback. I don't know. I don't really know what to make of that one. I guess we'll have to revisit that another day. This was excellent hockey. This was the type of hockey that you need to find yourself down the stretch winning 6 of 8. And they're in a good spot. So that's good. Here's this question. Do players need to come off LTIR and playoff? They do not. That is the rule that I want to be enforced in the NHL. That's how I think it needs to be enforced moving forward, but it is not at the moment. If you are on LTIR the very last game, doesn't matter. Once the playoffs come around, you can play as many players as you want as long as they're under NHL contract with your team and were on your roster as of the deadline. You taking Vegas over the Avs if they meet in round 1? If it started tomorrow, I would be taking Colorado, because one game is not going to completely turn around absolutely everything that I have seen in the past 74 games prior to today. However, there are 7 games left. I know that there is still a chance that this team gets in, and maybe it's slightly above 50% at this moment, and it feels good today. But they have to back it up. And unless I see this 4, 5, 6 more times in the last 7 games, and then they get in, no, I'm not going to be all that comfortable. And honestly, I wouldn't be all that comfortable against them, against basically anyone. I'll probably pick them against Edmonton if that's who it ends up being, just because Edmonton sucks in the playoffs. And I think the Golden Knights will be able to force the suckage in the playoffs. I don't know what it's going to look like tomorrow or Saturday. And again, if you back it up and you find it here, maybe I'm on here Saturday afternoon, which I'm planning on doing, saying, well, now it's 2 games in a row that have been dominant. That's what I would like to see. I have not seen Riley Smith at the rink. The only Riley Smith I've seen is on Instagram with his dogs. I don't know what to make of that. I've seen a little bit of that he's with his dogs, and you know, that seems nice. I'm usually with my dog. Here it is. Here's Wiglif. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned about where that's headed because there hasn't been a lot of information really at all. And like, it appeared it was a knee injury from what I understood at the beginning of it. And if it's a knee injury and it's taken a month and a half, usually those things don't get better overnight. So we'll see. Again, dominant game, awesome performance. No, do not lessen this performance at all. Like, do not allow any of it. And I actually heard it on the broadcast. It's like, well, Calgary kind of knows where they are. No, like, yes, they do know where they are, but that does not lessen this performance in any way for me. Like, not even a sliver. And the reason it's not even a sliver is because they needed 1 point to qualify for the playoffs. They wanted that point. That's what they needed to get. And so they didn't do it. And the reason they didn't do it was because the Golden Knights dominated them. The Golden Knights came in and did absolutely everything they wanted to do. So that is what I'm very happy to have seen tonight. I'm very happy that it continued throughout the entirety of that 20 minutes in the middle period where it was going their way. I'm happy that even though at 1-1, they stuck with the same style moving through that second period, they were able to come back out with the exact same style. Play the boring style. Embrace the boring. It won't be as boring if you can make it last as long as you can. That's the best version of Golden Knights hockey. That's what they need to do. If they can do that on Saturday, all of a sudden things are going to look real good if they can do it just one more time. Like, this next game is crucial in regards to whether or not they're going to make the playoffs. And again, to me, if they back in by playing bad hockey, then so be it. I'm not going to be like, or they miss whatever. If they don't play like this multiple times over the course of the next 7 games, then it's not going to matter whether they make it or not, whether the other teams blow it or not. It's not going to make a difference, or if the spray and pray goes in or whatever. If they play like this for 6 of the next 7 games, and that would make it 7 of the 8, and they've won something along the lines of 11 or 12 of their last 15, then you can start saying, all right, now we're seeing what they wanted to do, and now they were able to do it. And then it'll go back to my concept from the entire thing that the regular season doesn't make a difference, because if you're good enough, you'll get in. And I still believe that, and I will always believe that. Thanks again to Conler & Associates CPAs. Tax day is Monday. Don't miss it. And if you do miss it, call Conler CPA or call them up, tell them SinBin sent you, and they'll help you get an extension. We will be back Saturday afternoon. I'm coming right back after the game. I'm planning on doing this most of the games. Some of the home games are a little bit trickier. There's 3 home games left. I'll definitely be doing it for at least the upcoming road games that we have. I'll probably do it for some of the home games, but we will see. And that's it for tonight. I potentially have something else fun coming up, but we will see. I don't want to announce that yet, but we will hopefully have that by maybe the end of maybe even early next week. We'll see. But that's it for tonight. Good night. What a win. What a dominant. And goodbye, Wiglaf. Goodbye.